Hello, everyone. My name is Dread, and this is Miss Valley Entertainment News. Let me just turn this up a little bit because the volume was a little low. There we go. How's everybody doing today? We are going to take a look at some Steam reviews for Dragon Age the Veilguard, just to go over it really quickly. I know. Dread, the only time you show up anymore is to talk about Dragon Age the Veilguard. I think we're just in a point right now in gaming, people, where this is how I feel right now. We're just at a point where the news is all negative for the most part. I'm waiting for another game to come along and blow people's socks off and get people excited. Dragon Age: The Veilguard was not it. Okay, it was not it. We're talking something amazing. A Baldur's Gate 3 type game with that kind of great gameplay. Not an exact copy of it, just something out there that is going to be wow. Okay. We've had a few games that come along lately that have been like that. But we need something more to come along soon, because right now it's just negative news. It's just negative news. And I'm tired of being negative, and it's hard to talk about anything positive right now because I'm struggling to find it. Okay. When I find it, I'll focus on it. But for now, this is what we got. I'm not going to be too negative. I'm just going to be, this is what it is. So first of all, we're going to cover really quick Sungrand Studios and their really quick video here, 2.5 minutes or so. A warning to BioWare, investigating whistleblowers will not end well. Let me say, love me some Sungrand Studios. If you're not following this guy, you really need to be. What I can tell you is, if you've been living under a rock and you don't know, Smash JT, the YouTuber, has had now 2 whistleblowers from within BioWare come to him and talk to him about what's going on in BioWare, what's going on with the company, with their woke policies, with their hiring only for diversity, with their hiring people who are not very experienced and leaving experienced people off, and having a culture where people are afraid to speak up because you'll be sent to HR for retraining. And if that doesn't work, you'll be fired and you will be blacklisted in the industry and never work again. That is what's happening, and it's not only happening in Dragon Age the Veilguard and in BioWare. The people who are coming forward from BioWare are saying this is going through and spreading throughout AAA gaming right now. All of the AAA gaming studios are having this issue. They are getting populated by activists, and if you don't think this is the death of AAA gaming, it is. It is absolutely 1,000% the death of AAA gaming, and right now that's a good thing, because AAA gaming will rise again from the ashes, and it'll be different because you people and me people and us people would not put up with the crap they're trying. The games are suffering mightily right now, and they're suffering because of these activists who do not have the ability to make a good game, and their only focus within the game is inserting their policies and their ideologies, and their ideals, and it's absolutely ruining the game. And this is not going to end well for you Mass Effect fans out there. I'm very sorry. I've played some Mass Effect games. I'm not a huge fan, but I will tell you something. If you're still holding out hope for the next Mass Effect game, please understand, probably about 80% of the people who worked on Dragon Age the Veilguard have moved over to Mass Effect. So the experts who made Dragon Age the Veilguard, can I put big enough air quotes around experts? I don't think I can get that big. The experts who made Dragon Age the Veilguard into making one of the most popular and best fantasy gaming titles in AAA history, and drove it so far underground you can't even see it anymore, are now working on your Mass Effect game. So I think keep your expectations low. My expectation is the game even going to come out before the company closes and shuts its doors? I don't even know. BioWare is in that bad of trouble. I don't know. BioWare is like Ubisoft right now. Are they even going to be a company a month from now? I don't know. But what you can expect is lower your expectations, because what's going to happen is you're going to get woke ideas. You're going to get real life situations that you don't want to see in your game is going to be inserted into your game by people whose only job, whose only thing they want to do with the game is insert those things in there. They want to get you and change your mind. If they can't change your mind, they want to change the younger generation's mind, the kids' minds, to think that whatever they think is right for society is. So what can you expect from Mass Effect? A different looking Dragon Age the Veilguard that probably people are going to buy even less of if it comes out. Let's be honest. Anyways, we're going to take a quick look at Sungrad Studios, and then we're going to go over and take a even quicker look, well, sort of quicker look, at a couple of Steam reviews on Dragon Age the Veilguard. So let's hit this.
Thank you for joining me today. I am Jarrell Dulé. I work in the games industry. Today, I address BioWare, its developers, and its management directly. We have recently learned you are hunting down whistleblowers who have made public your malpractices at industry level in the workplace. I will keep this brief. This is my one and only warning to you. Stop searching for whistleblowers within your company. Let your actual, competent developers and employees do their jobs. Regarding your recent behavior and performance in the games industry with Dragon Age the Veilguard, I have been taking it very, very easy on you. We know everything about you. We know how your hiring practices have been excluding people based on their gender, race, sexual identity, and how you have focused on hiring based on diversity with disregard to talent, skill, experience, or psychological suitability for the workplace.
Now, there's nothing wrong with hiring someone who's diverse, with hiring someone for your studio who's not like all the other people in your studio. But that flips the other way too. If your studio is 60, 70, 80% already diverse, and you're not going to hire someone who's diverse from them, only people who are the same as them, then you've got the exact same problem you started out with before. Now, the issue here is if you're hiring people who are you only want certain types of people for the studio, certain lifestyles or certain sexual innuendos, whatever you want, however you want to put it. If that is what you want to hire, and you're hiring based upon that, and you're hiring people with lesser skills and knowledge in the gaming industry than other people who you could be hiring, our games will suffer. And unfortunately, the activists don't care if your game suffers. They will burn every game to the ground, every franchise to the ground, in order to push their agenda, because that is all they care about. So get ready. Like I said, AAA is burning to the ground before your eyes.
We know how critical review is not allowed in your workplace, and how you are setting out to brainwash your employees with political agenda and propaganda instead of giving them knowledge on how to actually make a decent product. We know everything about you. Now, here's the interesting part. You do not know who I am. You do not know anything about me.
You're Jarrell.
You do not know what I am capable of.
He wears the suit.
And you do not want to find out.
Ooh.
You can continue investigating your whistleblowers. You can punish them. You can fire them. But if anything bad happens to the whistleblowers within your company who have made public your corruption and industry malpractice, well, I won't actually do anything because I am nobody. But the games industry will show you what will happen. My fellow gamers will show you what will happen.
And the gamers are the game industry. Make no mistake. The gamers are the game industry. Not the activists, not the developers, not the journalists. It's the gamers. It's you.
So here is what you are going to do. You will stop investigating your whistleblowers. You will leave your employees to do their jobs. And you will focus on making your next propaganda product Mass Effect 5, so that all of us gamers around the world can show you that we will not buy it. Thank you for joining me today. Have a nice day.
Jarrell just knows how to state things. I have nothing more to add than that. Let's move on. I took some video as I watched this. So I went to Dragon Age the Veilguard on Steam earlier today. It's at 72%, mostly positive reviews. It's the same as it was last week. I'm like, okay, hasn't gone down any. All right, that's fine. Whatever. It's getting pumped up by people who say, amazing story and combat, loving the game. It's legit such an amazing game. I was apprehensive, but I'm confident all these complaints are all completely off base. The writing, dialogue, and stories are amazing. The characters you get to meet and relationships you can develop with the different factions are so complex, each with a different dynamic between them. It's amazing. The writing's amazing. The characters are amazing. The game is amazing. Rye the Witch. Rye the Witch wrote this. Rye the Witch. Show of hands, who thinks Rye the Witch is part of the LGBTQ plus community? Yeah. Okay, let's go on though. This is the first one I saw, and it's a large write-up. And this is, again, these are under the helpful reads, the recommended, the mostly positive, right? This is posted November 10th. This is by a Jatara, okay? They got 91 hours on record. They had 83 hours when they reviewed it. That's enough time to review the game, by the way. By the way, the person who thought it was amazing put almost 40 hours into the game, even though they only have 34 hours. Apparently, they don't know numbers very well. That's amazing! Okay, anyways, sorry. Rye the Witch, get some fucking help. Okay, moving on. Okay. So they say, this is barely a thumbs up since I don't feel like I wasted my money. I enjoyed aspects of the game. So they recommended it. But they say it's barely a thumbs up. I enjoyed aspects of the game. As a standalone game, the Veilguard is fine. It gets better after the weak first act. Your game should never have a weak first act. Never. The first act is what pulls people in, and if the first act is weak, most people are going to quit. That's bad writing. Right off the bat, I can tell you what, if you have a weak first act, it's bad writing. As a Dragon Age game, it's the worst in the series. People will tell you. People have told you. Journalists and others have told you. This is the best-selling Dragon Age game on Steam ever. The best-selling Dragon Age launch on Steam ever. Therefore, it's the best Dragon Age game. You're like, yeah, look, it sold way more on launch on Steam than Dragon Age Inquisition did, which was the game of the year, so this has to be game of the year. Dragon Age Inquisition came out in 2014. Dragon Age Inquisition came out on Steam in 2020. 6 years after it launched, it came out on Steam. And it only got a little bit of sales. That's what they're telling you. They're lying to you. Oh, anyways, as a Dragon Age game, this person says, it's the worst in the series. It would be easier if the game was just bad, but there are sparks of hope every now and then. That's every now and then where the good writers and the good people in the game actually got to sneak something in that everybody missed. I love the setting so much and wanted this to be a return to form. I could say the same thing. I'm a huge Dragon Age fan, just not this one. Most of the story design choices are just baffling, if not downright insulting. Most of the story design choices are just baffling, if not downright insulting. And this person recommended the game. These are some of the reviews you're getting from people who actually recommend the game. They absolutely butchered legacy characters and all previous player choices. Does that sound like good writing? Does that sound like a good idea in a game? It feels spiteful. I hope that if we get another Dragon Age game, there are big changes with how the leadership and writing team approach the story. Trespasser was such a great setup for new adventures. I agree. And the current dev team fumbled an easy win. It's actually devastating to witness as a longtime fan. Yes. How could you play it and how could you recommend it? You're hurting the franchise and the industry by buying this game, playing this game, and recommending it. As a longtime fan, don't put up with crap. Somebody hands you a plate of dog shit. Don't just sit there and eat it and say, well, it wasn't what I wanted, but because someone served it to me, I'm going to recommend it. People. I know the culture war tourists have labeled the game woke, but it's really not. And I say that as someone who would be called a woke by these people. So this person's saying, oh, people out there say it's woke, but I don't think it is woke. But, you know, those people out there who call the things woke would call me woke. So then when you're saying it's not woke, but you're saying you're woke, and the people are lying when they say it's woke, how do I trust you on that? Yeah. This is pure sanitized US corporate fluff. It's not about inclusivity. Inclusivity, thank you. It's about being as inoffensive as possible in order to sell more. Well, you offended a lot of people with that game. You won't find any uncomfortable politics here. Well, that's not true. Well, maybe politics, I don't know. Religion and basic cultural elements are barely there when they've previously been central to the setting. Yeah. The revelations in the game should be society-shattering for the entire continent, but nobody cares. Everything is sanitized and no one gets to be morally gray. You're either good or comically evil. Jeez. Looks like this person had not actually written any reviews ever before, by the way. All right. Thetis has such a wealth of messed up situations with amazing story potential. The City Elf is one of the best origins. I disagree on if it's the best origin, but that's fine. I played all the origins and Dragon Age Origins. And it's brutal. I still think about encounters like the Broodmother and quests like All That Remains, or the Elven Inquisitor getting called a rabbit the moment they step into the Winter Palace and starting the quest at a disadvantage. I wanted the kind of hopeless horror that shows the world and its people are very much flawed, but still worth fighting for. None of that is present in this game. The Lords of Fortune are a good example of the toothless writing. What do you mean these treasure hunters don't loot tombs? What? Or that they have cultural advisors so that they can return artifacts to their rightful owners? Are you fucking kidding me? The faction is led by a pretty well-known cultural artifact thief. Let them be shady. We finally get to see Tevinter, and it's just a load of nothing. Why is there nothing with the Imperial Chantry, the Magisterium, slavery? What's the point of the Shadow Dragons when we see none of the horrors we spent 3 games and countless other forms of media hearing about? Yes, Docktown is the place for the lower classes. Are you telling me that slavery isn't visible in any way at the docks? How do you even make Tevinter this boring? You don't know much about the world, you don't know much about game design, and you don't know much about writing. That's how. Show us the brutality of the Ontom occupation instead of just telling us it's bad. Let us see the casual cruelty of Tevinter and culture instead of hiding it in the Codex. Let the elves be angry instead of happily embracing atheism and other species. Jeez. Sorry, I did do this here by video. The time I saw it, I just took a little video of it. The game tells you things without letting you see, shape, or just experience the events yourself. It tells you how to feel and doesn't allow any deviations. They made a chocolate cake out of cardboard, people. And they fed it to you. And you were stupid enough to eat it. I'm pretty much always a goody two-shoes player, so it should work for me, but this game made me wish for evil options. Or just a chance to tell some characters to go pound sand. I would absolutely embrace the dark urge of some of the story beats, and it's such a weird feeling to have with Dragon Age. A big issue is the writing. No shit. I'm not expecting archaic language, though I prefer it, but almost all the characters speak like they know what TikTok is. It's not like the series ever had anybody speak like Morrigan. but the constant quips and meme-like reactions were too much this time. Everybody reacts like they know there's a camera on them. The voice acting being all over the place doesn't help. The only consistently brilliant performances amongst the companions were Emmerich and Davrin. I get that the devs wanted to focus on new players, but they could have done it with so much better. Games like Baldur's Gate 3, Witcher 3, or WOTR are good examples of how you don't need to coddle new players. Games were worth the learning curve, and Dragon Age should be worth it too. This is a positive review. I'm also confused by the reviews that said this is the most focused game yet. It's really not. The pacing is wonky from start to finish. Most heavy emotional beats just don't land. The hyped big choice happens way too early and makes very little sense. My character doesn't know these people, and I, as a player, only got here just as well. At least let my character explain or defend their choice instead of making him self-flagellate uselessly while basically being called a heartless war criminal. The game would be so much better if it started with Rook's origin story instead of constantly telling us how cool it was. The story also would have benefited from being much smaller in scale, or from spending more time building up to the initial ritual. I'm not sure how new players would even care about Varric with how lackluster his presence is. You bastards. You just neutered everybody. They just neutered every fucking character in this game. People nowadays are going to think this is what Dragon Age is. This crap. That pisses me off. The same goes for the other legacy characters. They're just shallow imitations of themselves, completely stripped of their context. Yep. For everything I've seen, I agree. It'll scroll up in a minute. The friendships and romances are barely there. The game kept telling me that these companions were my character's found family, but never actually showed it. It honestly felt like the others didn't even like Rook. Having finished the game, I'm not even sure why he was there at all. You play an entire fantasy game, and at the end of it, you're not even sure why your character was there? Fuck, that's bad. A faction-related quest for Rook specifically would have helped establish him in the world. I was interested in seeing some actual cultural clashes between the characters. You have 2 Dalish elves and a Tevinter mage, and there's no real suspicion at any point. Alara and Nevi, whatever, are just immediate besties. You can't ask Nev questions about her upbringing or opinions on living in a mage supremacy as a lower-class mage. The game just tells you she's a good person and she loves Docktown. But she's still a mage from Tevinter. If she has no questionable opinions, why is that? Why does she think like she does when she grew up in a nation like Tevinter? I'd like to know. Similarly, why are there no discussions on the different varieties of Andrastianism? Outside of Davrin and Balara, all other companions would have lived under the rule of either the Orlesian or Imperial Chantry. I know Ravane is different, but still. They not have any misconceptions or suspicions about the others. Why was everyone so chill about the Khun? Because these people can't fucking write to save their lives. You give them a pen and put them in a wet paper bag, they're not going to be able to write their way out of it. That's why. They're not writers. They're activists. And the entire company is full of it, and the entire AAA industry is full of it. It's unfortunate the ability to ask the characters questions outside of cutscenes was removed. I assumed the justification would be something about boundaries, but these are not real people. Let me pester them. The combat is fun at first, but the limited skill slots hinder it. The companion limit is a horrible choice, as is the fact that they cannot be controlled. They might as well not be there considering how utterly useless they are in a fight. I spent most fights running away and dodging so my mage character wouldn't get body slammed every 5 seconds. The inventory system is horrible. The vendors and the faction rank ups break immersion. I understand the remnants from the live service version of the game, but damn, such a poor system. I didn't mind the art style. The character creation is good, but somehow not as good as the Dragon Age Inquisition. Ugh. The clothes and weapons are over-designed, so I'm grateful for the transmog system. Scenery is stunning, but lifeless, just like the Inquisition, just like in Inquisition. The NPCs are static and don't react to anything around them. Music is so basic, I can only recall one moment where I actually noticed it. I thought the scenery was pretty damn good in Inquisition, actually. Says, I don't know, I could write even more, but what's the point? In the end, I wish the game had been better, and I wish over a decade of being a fan hadn't been dismissed so brutally. Rocks fall, everybody dies is a sad way to say goodbye. Look at all the awards these people have gotten already. 1192 found it helpful. Well, if they actually read it, they know this is not a positive review at all. This person says, can't hug every cat, says, who played 73.5 hours. This is what we get after 10 years? Barely there romances that may as well be non-existent. None of our choices for previous games matter at all. And that Dreadwolf design, the one that looks like a drowned rat, we deserve better. Maybe if BioWare stopped firing people who are actually passionate about the series, they wouldn't be such a disappointment. But they did, and it is. This person says, I like this game. Rook is very well developed. Starlight. This guy says, honestly, it was all right. I guess the ending made me give it a thumbs up. However, the game lacks a lot. For Pete's sake, okay, we're going to go over one more here. One more. Popping it up here. This is by Banda, who has 282 products in their account and only 2 reviews, which is strange. So almost 73 hours of the time they reviewed it. This is a diehard Dragon Age fan. I've seen fanfics treat the lore with more respect. Major reveals that should have felt epic ended up watered down and shallow, like someone's first attempt at fanfiction. 15 years of world building gone up in flames. Despite my love for the series, greed undermined the quality. Honestly, not worth the price, especially after waiting 10 years. This person says, honestly, not really balanced and still pretty buggy. I encountered a bug where my life bar randomly drains with no reason as to why. Game scaling is bad. Barely into the game and just following the order of quest I was given, ended up having to fight a boss that was 10 plus levels higher than me. That person is Steam level 43, and they didn't recommend it after playing for 72 hours, 76 in total. That says a lot. I'm going to scroll down here in a minute, find some more, I do believe. Mm-hmm. Yep, is the 19 Steam level. Yep. Overall, after playing between 10 and 20 hours, I'd say the game is just meh. This person says, not recommended. Dragon Age: The Veilguard may have been the single worst writing I've seen in a video game in the last 10 years. Thank you, Alzandi, telling it like it is. The main character, Rook, is deeply frustrating to play as and cannot help but insert a quip or say, I'm sorry, in every conversation. Milquetoast. There is no roleplay in this RPG. You will play as Rook and you will like it. Understand that. There's no roleplay in this RPG. The companions all have an inherent personality trait, which is an interesting concept that makes them unique. However, these traits are the only thing that is apparent about them. The ADHD one is a stereotype. The gender nonconforming one constantly talks about it while not respecting other people's identities. Everything this game does comes off as tone deaf and immature in the dialogue department. The overall story starts off as interesting and falls off a cliff instantly. There is no gradual climb to power. You are fighting gods with no growth to get there. The combat starts off amazingly fun, genuinely a great start, but the level system lacks the depth to change the playstyle. Instead, it mostly makes what you do better, which is fine. After 20 to 40 hours, the fact of playing the game as a level 10 character is wild. All in all, pick it up at a deep discount. The writing and dialogue is a massive sin against all RPGs. This person says, and they give it a thumbs down, looks stunning. There's not a lot more to love than that. The backgrounds look fine. The characters look like shit. So, to me, that puts the looks down. But anyways, writing feels bad. Tone feels off, and most of the missions, apart from the last one, feel short, repetitive, and empty. Lots of companion quests, which is kind of nice, but I didn't really feel attached to any by the end of the game. They also add a fair bit of lore that should be interesting, but the way it's done feels sloppy and shallow. It doesn't feel like Dragon Age. It's probably my least favorite of the series. I wish I could have enjoyed this. Gaia Wolf says, overall, poorly written.
Propaganda product, Mass Effect 5, so that all of us gamers around the world can show you that we will not buy it.
Remember that, Mass Effect fans. Remember the pain of the Dragon Age fans. Look at the pain expression in my face and understand I'm hardening the deeper pain in my heart over this game and over the end of this. Because it is the end. It's dead. It's the death of this amazing series. This amazing series of games is dead. Absolutely fucking dead. And so will Mass Effect be. So will Assassin's Creed. So will the Star Wars game, Star Wars Outlaw. And then you'll go sequel to that one. These people in the industry were just there to push their agenda are ruining your games, and they don't care. All they care is that they force you to hear what they want you to hear. Waiting for some better news, at least in my own life. I'm playing some Skyrim now. I have my Skyrim mod list up and running. I'm playing over on Mist Valley Mods, playing 2 video series for Skyrim as well as a live-only series. So it's Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific time zone. So go check that out if you feel like watching me play some stuff. And I'm actually starting to work on another second Skyrim mod list for some much, much more difficult and much more dark gameplay. Still working on some Baldur's Gate stuff. I'm doing a lot of other games as well. I play stuff over on Mist Valley Mods. I play stuff over on Mist Valley Gaming. And here I talk about the news that's interesting to me. Really hoping for some good new game to come along that I could talk about as a success story. Chances are it won't be a AAA company, though. For Mist Valley Entertainment News, my name is Dread. Stay well, everybody, and don't buy shit games. Ta-ta.